Cain had killed his brother Abel in a lonely place, certain that no one had seen what he had done. But out of the silence came a voice that cut through the air like thunder. "Cain, where is your brother?" With his heart pounding, Cain answered with a lie, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Yet God, who sees all things, already knew the truth. God pronounced his judgment. Cain would be driven from the land and would spend his days wandering the earth, without a home or a place to rest. The words fell on Cain like a crushing weight. "This punishment is more than I can bear," he cried out. But the sentence stood, a solemn reminder to all who would come after him that sin always carries consequences. And so the judgment was carried out. Cain fled to a distant land called Nod, a name that means wandering. There he settled, built a family, and raised the first city in human history, naming it Enoch after his son. He had carved out a place for himself in the world, but he lived it far from the presence of God. Back in the home that had once been full of life, Adam and Eve carried a doubled sorrow. They had lost Abel to death and Cain to exile. The silence of the house was unbearable. Eve wondered aloud whether they would be alone forever, and Adam, feeling the weight of his own failures, urged them both to turn their eyes back to God and cry out to him for help. God heard their prayers and gave them a third son. They named him Seth, and from his very first days, his parents were determined to raise him in obedience to God, just as Abel had lived. From Seth's line would come remarkable men: Enoch, who walked with God in complete faithfulness, and Methuselah, who lived 969 years and became the oldest man who ever drew breath. As the generations passed, sin spread like a shadow, stretching across all of humanity. People became deceitful, violent, and idolatrous, bowing down to the sun, the moon, and idols fashioned by their own hands. The voice of God seemed to have grown dim in the hearts of men. Only one man looked out at that darkening world with grief and holy fear. A man named Noah.